Good evening and thank you for joining us here at GBS News at 9. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Adam Minor, and together we'll be taking you through the stories making headlines tonight. Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. To begin our bulletin, the United Democratic Alliance Party is facing leadership wrangles after the war between Cleophas Malala, the party's first Secretary General, erupted, engaged in a fight for the same position with Joe Kalende, who is also eyeing for the same position, due to what transpired on Wednesday after the goons believed to be supporters of Honorable Cleophas Malala stormed the Hustler Center, causing mayhem and chaos. The party's leadership has today nominated Honorable Hassan Omar to act intermittently as the party's Secretary General, as Davis Karani now reports.
The United Democratic Alliance Party National Executive Council has today settled for Hassan Omar as the interim Secretary General for this giant ruling party.
To steer the party in an interim basis until we are able to transit from the interim situation that we've been in pre- and post-election to an elected and popular base of party leaders and members. You do recall that we were in the rigorous process of renewing our leadership through the grassroots elections, and I do believe that I will engage all the organs of the party.
The decision was reached after goons believed to have been funded by Honorable Cleophas Malala stormed the UDS Center in Nairobi, causing distract and mayhem just days after Joe Kalende and Cleophas Malala were involved in exchange of bitter words, struggling for the same position.
Come to the party to cause mayhem and to hurt others. We are a party that believes in the rule of law. We are a party with very clear ways and means of dealing with our conflicts, and we do not in any way support what has happened today and the goons that have been brought to the party headquarters to bring here. Therefore, I wish to announce that we are going to have a National Executive Committee meeting.
According to the National Executive Council's report, Hassan Omar will serve the party interimly as the party's Secretary General until the correct solution will be attained. At the same time, the Orange Democratic Movement Party is also expected to fill the positions that were left vacant by the leaders who were nominated by President William Ruto into his cabinet.
The Central Committee of the Orange Democratic Movement, meeting under the chairmanship of party leader, His Excellency Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, has today resolved as follows. Number one, that the party has officially released its officials who were recently tapped by President William Ruto for national duty as cabinet secretaries. I confirm that I have received the resignations of the Honorable John Mbadi as the national chairperson of ODM, the Honorable Opiyo Wandayi as the Secretary for Political Affairs, His Excellency Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, and Honorable Hassan Ali Joho as deputy party leaders of the party, and lastly, Beatrice Askul Moe, who has resigned today as a member of the party's elections committee.
Could this be a paradigm shift for the political parties in the country? Davis Karani, GBS News, Nairobi.
The vetting of Cabinet Secretary nominees entered Day 2 at Parliament. The Cabinet Secretary nominee for Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, Eric Muga, was the third to appear for vetting, while the Cabinet Secretary nominee for Roads and Transport, Davis Chilchil, was for the one to be vetted. Here is more on the same.
Eric, have you ever been mentioned adversely in any investigations on matters of integrity?
The vetting process for Cabinet Secretary nominees continued for a second day today in Parliament. Eric Muga, the nominee for the Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation, was the third candidate to undergo scrutiny. Davis Chilchil, the Ministry of Roads and Transport nominee, was the fourth to be vetted.
That we'll try to work together to see equitable distribution of resources.
Say that you're paying for fuel in Kenyan shillings. I want clarity because I am very well aware that Kenyan shillings are not legal tender.
The Cabinet Secretary nominee for Transport, Davis Chilchil, was put to task to explain to Kenyans if he had any plans to resuscitate the fortunes of Kenya Airways, the country's national carrier, that a streak of losses has dogged.
I just want to be direct. Are we going to listen to that story from the next nominee after you? Or how long should you be approved? Will you commit to the people of Kenya that you can be able to sort out the problems of Kenya Airways? Because as you say, it's true, they are on operating profit, but when you factor in their financing costs, then they make huge losses.
I do see Kenya Airways running a system that needs a lot of support, and where the Kenya government, I think to date, has given support to the tune of 600 billion Kenya shillings.
On his end, National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula was today forced to intervene and prevent Water Cabinet Secretary nominee Eric Muga from answering a question about his dream car. While responding to questions from members, the nominee disclosed that he has never owned a car.
Now that the nominee has said he doesn't have a car and he has never owned one, I wanted to know what is his dream car? Which one are you looking? What's your dream? Which one are you dreaming that one day? Which one?
Eric, don't answer that.
Honorable Speaker, yes. I will need your protection in future.
Yes, don't answer that.
Once the National Assembly concludes the vetting process and grants its approval, the nominees will succeed the outgoing cabinet secretaries.
At your papers against what we have.
The stringent medical standards for aspiring recruits seeking to join the military came under scrutiny during the vetting of former Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments following reports that the testicle size is a significant factor. Duale, who was being assessed for his qualifications to lead the climate change and environment docket, faced questions regarding the grounds on which recruits were dismissed from training camps during his tenure. Teso South legislator Mary Emase sought answers from Duale on the recruitment guidelines, citing an example of one of her constituents who was expelled from training camp due to having an equal testicle size despite successfully passing the initial recruitment phase at the county level. In response, Duale defended the dismissals, asserting that they were justified under the current recruitment guidelines specific to the Kenya Defence Forces. Duale explained that KDF recruits undergo rigorous medical assessments post-county selection, and health-related reasons, including uneven testicle size, could result in dismissal from training. The debate around the dismissal of recruits for what some members termed as flimsy reasons also sparked discussions on alleged corruption in the recruitment during Duale's tenure at the defense docket. The committee raised concerns that such dismissals may have paved the way for wealthy individuals to secure positions within the Kenya Defence Forces at the expense of the poor.
That those who were successful and had reported to the training camp were being chased away over flimsy reasons. And I think I can quote, one of my constituents was told that his testicles are not equal. That is why he's being dismissed or returned from the training camp. So I wanted to seek clarification from the CS to tell me what are the guidelines for one to be recruited. Somebody who is successful, he has already reported and is being chased away. I wanted it to secure that law so that my constituents do not lose it as a representative of the people of Teso South.
Is something that is out there in the public. Many Kenyans complaining about, sometimes they think those are flimsy reasons why they are not taken. And I could understand maybe someone has squinted eyes because of shooting and, you know, flat foot, maybe because of running. I'm really wondering why, if what work testicles would really have to do with joining the disciplined forces. So I don't think we should belabor, but don't take it lightly that there are Kenyans who are raising concerns on the reasons why they are not taken to disciplined forces.
We required tall people so that they would see enemies from a distance. Today you don't have to do that. Because if that was the case, the Chinese and the Japanese would have a challenge. Eventually, such things became disqualified. I think the whole code needs to be revised so that we do not have human rights abuses. But they are not even abuses. They are excuses that the army is using so that it is able to bar some Kenyans from joining the forces, and, as we are saying, so that other people can actually get.
The leadership of KDF could give me 1, 2, 3, 4 reasons. The measurements including. So I am sure the next
women to assist them
not only on this. So Mr. Speaker, there are certain criteria. There are many, and those who leave, they are not replaced. And I think let us not discuss, with your permission, the Kenya Defense Forces in a very negative. They have a special place in that, but the chairman of defense can call the generals in camera, and you are now talking about testicles. They will tell you something about even the teeth. They will tell you many things. And some of these things is because when you go, the training of the Kenya Defense Forces is so vigorous that you don't risk to take somebody who will die in the course of the training. So don't compare it with how the police are trained. Don't compare it with how the Kenya prisoners are trained. But I am sure the information, the reasons why many, including my sister, Mheshimiwa Mary Emase. And please, going forward, if it was in camera, Mr. Speaker, I will even tell you more.
The Shakahola massacre has unveiled a disturbing reality in Kenya, where the intersection of faith and extremism has led to tragic consequences. With over 400 bodies exhumed from shallow graves and more than 600 individuals reported missing, this incident has raised urgent questions about the roots of the religious extremism in a nation known for its strong Christian and Muslim communities. While Kenya is predominantly Christian, with over 80% of the population identifying as such, the proliferation of independent churches and cults has created a fertile ground for toxic interpretations of faith. Susan Ganga with the full report.
The Shakahola massacre has unveiled a disturbing reality in Kenya, where the intersection of faith and extremism has led to the tragic consequences as over 400 bodies were exhumed from shallow graves and more than 600 individuals reported missing.
The abuse of religion, the use of religion to carry out very anti-religion things is what got our attention as a nation.
While Kenya is predominantly Christian, with over 80% of the population identifying as such, the proliferation of independent churches and cults has created a fertile ground for toxic interpretation of faith and religious books, such as the Quran and the Bible. The Shakahola tragedy is not an isolated event. It echoes a history of violence associated with religious extremism in Kenya. Notable incidents include the 1998 bombing of the U.S. Embassy in Nairobi, the 2013 Westgate Mall attack, and the 2015 Garissa University College attack. More recently, the Kanitha Wangai Church was implicated in the deaths of 7 children due to its anti-medical stance, and groups like the Young Blood Saints have targeted university students, demanding loyalty through personal sacrifices. In response to the Shakahola massacre, President William Ruto formed a task force in May 2023 to review the legal and regulatory framework governing religious organizations in Kenya. The task force has recommended enacting statutes for religious organization, establishing a religious affairs commission, and adopting a hybrid regulatory model of self-regulation and government oversight. Additionally, it has called for the development of civic education materials to clarify the rights and responsibilities of religious organizations and citizens, and to underscore the dangers of the extremism ideologies. As the nation grapples with the implication of these findings, it faces a critical juncture. Will the government take responsibility for the regulatory failures that allow this tragedy to occur, or will the burden of ignorance among the populace continue to enable the extremist ideologies?
Kenya has confirmed its first case of Mpox, previously known as monkeypox, at the Taita Taveta border point with Tanzania. The individual, a long-distance truck driver, was traveling from Uganda to Rwanda through Kenya when the virus was detected. The Ministry of Health has issued a warning to the public, advising them to remain vigilant and practice good hygiene. They have recommended frequent hand washing with soap and water or hand sanitizer to minimize the risk of infection. Mpox spreads through close contact and can cause flu-like symptoms along with even painful rash. Here are the details.
First Mpox case at a border point in Taita Taveta near Tanzania. The virus was found in a truck driver traveling from Uganda to Rwanda through Kenya. Mpox, caused by monkeypox virus, spreads through close contact and can lead to flu-like symptoms and a painful rash. The Ministry of Health has advised Kenyans to stay vigilant. They recommend frequent hand washing with soap and water or hand sanitizer to reduce the risk of infection. Mpox is primarily found in the Democratic Republic of Congo and other forested areas in Africa. Kenya had recently issued a travel advisory in response to an outbreak in the DRC, which was the largest Mpox outbreak ever recorded, with tens of thousands of cases. Kenya's first Mpox case highlights the need for vigilance and precautionary measures.
Many thanks for joining this live broadcast. We have a lot lined up for you in our new segment tonight. But first, let us take a quick break. We'll be right back with even more.
Now, for our viewers, they've had this over the past few weeks. Actually, can you try to break down this? What is this called endometriosis?
Back and they say, if you're having painful periods, please take it like a woman, which I think is a very wrong thing.
Is there an age, a particular age group among women that experience this so much? Or it's just for at any time of age life?
In our area of the world, we tend to find more severe forms because of poor health-seeking behavior. So if you have a problem, please don't spend forever before you come starting to look for help.
Viewer who is asking, what is the relationship between endometriosis and ovarian cancer? Many people confuse to be just a painful menses rather than endo. So how can you differentiate the two?
The story that this lady comes with. So what's the background story? How long has this pain been there? Has it been getting worse? Is it pain in just one space, or is it pain in very many other places as well? How has it developed over time?
And how are the patients when you meet them?
Thank you for that very important question. In fact, I think that's actually one of the key things we need to discuss in today's interview.
Our riddle for today is, if you don't keep me, I'll break. What am I?
I'm Annabelle Reno. I'm a model, a professional one indeed. I'm also a visual artist. I'm also a professional swimmer. But the moment I had that I was top 30, it revived. It revived everything in me, and I knew that this is a chance, not just for by my own decision, but it's a chance to me given by God. Every extra hour is for adding knowledge, adding wisdom to myself. And whenever I get some extra time, I can be able to add a skill through that knowledge and have a new talent to myself. So that's an added advantage. I never imagined I would do modeling at all. I thought that modeling was for those people who are born with their self-confidence from the first day of birth. Someone is so energetic, someone is so confident.
And what about the worst experience as an artist? Because you also paint, you've also painted. Is there a worst experience, a low experience you can feel, ay? Now we're going to enter into something called random questions. My favorite. Okay, so I'm asking you a question, alafu unajibu tu haraka. Okay.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News 9. Principal Secretary Health and Professional Standards Mary Muthoni has called for calm in the country as the ministry tackles the report cases on Mpox. She said the ministry is yet to confirm the exact number and avail once they are done tracing as well as testing suspecting cases. Here is more on the same.
Speaking in Kirinyaga when she met community health promoters, the PS said they have sent a surveillance team to all 32 entry points to be on standby to manage any cases. She said the person tested for Mpox while crossing the border is under quarantine and that they are currently looking for people he contacted, confirming to the country that as a ministry, they are committed to ensure they contain any outbreak.
I want people to remain calm again. I know we issued an advisory the other day that kuna monkeypox yenye imetokea. Mtu ametoka na truck akipitia kule Taita Taveta akienda na huku Western akagunduliwa. We have about 32 entry points for Kenya. All those entry points, they are manned by our teams. So we are on high alert, and we have quarantined the patient, and we are continuing to do a lot of surveillance. So the ministry is very committed. We are very, very committed to ensure that we contain any outbreak, not just for Mpox.
On the community health promoters, she enumerated various achievements, encouraging them to do their best for the sake of the nation, and further promised to come up with a policy leading to certification as well as increasing the stipend.
In this county, tuko na manyumba 193,000. 193 households katika Kirinyaga County. Katika hiyo 193, we have managed to register 63%. That is 123,000 households. Sasa situjikakamue. Tumalize hii maneno hii mwezi. Nimesikia mambo ya certificate. Na hata kama ni kuwapeleka KMTC, mpatie hiyo certificate, tutafanya hivyo.
Tabitha Nyarinda, GBS.
The government is determined to change the face of Kerio Valley and other parts of Kenya that have long been hard hit by banditry and other forms of insecurity. President William Ruto has said. President Ruto pointed out he cited the launch of Kenya Medical Training and TVET colleges as some of the initiatives that the government was pursuing to transform the marginalized parts of Kenya. The president cited the investment in the Silare geothermal project, saying it will create employment for the youth and change the lifestyle of the local people. President Ruto spoke on Friday during a development tour of Baringo County. He inspected the construction of the North Rift Technical and Vocational College and opened the institution's Konza Digital Skills Laboratory in Tiati constituency. He also launched the Kenya Medical Training College at the Chemo Longik and issued title deeds to more than 2,530 people. The president was accompanied with, among others, Governors Benjamin Chiboi of Baringo, Vice Lee Rotich of Alego Marakwet, and members of parliament and MCAs. The president repeated what he has promised the country: the security officers will remain in the North Rift until it is secure and stable. He said military barracks would be built in those areas to enforce security and rebuild. What he said, the military barracks would be built on those areas to enforce security and rebuild education and health infrastructure.
Excellency, mimi nikiomba kura, mimi ni kama wewe. Kidogo mimi sikuweza kufika hapa hii area ya Tiati. Lakini pia tulikuwa na kashika kidogo na Kamket. Lakini wewe ulipotuambia tukae chini na tufanyie wananchi kazi, na nikasema kwa sababu mimi ni mama county ya Baringo, Tiati ni Baringo, na lazima nifanye kazi pamoja na kila mtu. Leo hii unatuona sisi na Kamket hapa tunafanya kazi kabisa. Unajua wakati mwingine Your Excellency ukikuwa na chuki zingine unakosa kufanya kazi. Niliamua tufanye kazi, tushikane kama viongozi, tupeleke mbele Baringo.
Nataka niungane na Kamket. Leo Kamket ametangaza hapa Chemolingo cha kwamba amani. Mnakubaliana na mimi tushikane na Kamket tulete amani? Wangapi wanasema maklabu na Kamket na Kamureno walete amani? Sasa hiyo ndio accord. Haya, mnakubaliana na sisi hapa? Mnakubaliana na sisi hapa tulete amani? Sasa hii ni MOU mbele ya rais. MOU mbele ya nani? Asante sana.
Rais wetu, unajua ile bajeti tumesoma hii mwaka yenye utasaini siku ya Monday ni bajeti ya trilioni 3.8, 3.8 trillion. Lakini rais wetu, mimi nikikuangalia saa zingine na hurumia ile kazi iko mbele. Kwa sababu kama chairman wa budget, ile 3.8 trillion, trilioni 1.008 inaenda kulipa interest rate ya madeni ambayo sio wewe ulichukua. Iko bilioni nyingine 250 ambayo inaenda kulipa pension ya wakongwe wetu ambao wamefanyia serikali kazi hapo awali. In other words, what I'm saying, uchumi wetu mimi naona umekarabati sana rais, na umekarabati in very dire circumstances.
Hapa tuko na wanajeshi zaidi ya 3,000. Hapa tuko na askari polisi zaidi ya 2,000. Mimi nililete baada ya uchaguzi, na hawawezi kuondoka sehemu hii mpaka amani ipatikane, na nimesema tutajenga permanent barracks hapa. Tutakuwa tuna train wanajeshi hapa, tutakuwa tuna train polisi hapa. Na wale wanafikiri ya kwamba ati tutakuwa hapa alafu tuondoke, fikirieni tena, hatuondoki mpaka hii dunia ikae salama. Ninyi mnanielewa? Mnisikize vizuri. Mimi sitaki mseme sikuwaambia. Hakuna askari anatoka hapa. Kazi ya askari hapa ni kuanza kujenga barabara, waanze kutusaidia kujenga shule. Mimi nimewaambia hata hapa Chemolingot wakuje waweke borehole hapa, watu wakunywe maji hii Chemolingot. Hawa wanajeshi wangu watakuja kujenga borehole hapa, tuhakikishe ya kwamba watoto wetu wanasoma. Na juzi mimi nimetengeneza serikali ya kuunganisha Wakenya wote, kuweka Wakenya wote ndani ya serikali moja. Ndio sasa mtu asiwe na kizuizi, asiwe na vizingizio, asiwe na sababu ya kupingana na mwenzake. Zote tuungane, tuweze kupanga mambo ya maendeleo ya Kenya pamoja. Tupange mambo ya hawa vijana, ajira ya vijana wetu pamoja. Tupange mambo ya matibabu ya Wakenya pamoja. Tupange mambo ya infrastructure ya Kenya pamoja. Mimi nawauliza watu wa hapa Eldamaravine na Baringo, jameni, mnakubali tuungane sisi wote wa Kenya ama mnataka tutengane?
Recent diplomatic tensions have emerged between Kenya and the Democratic Republic of Congo, stemming from accusations by the DRC President Felix Tshisekedi against Kenyan President William Ruto. Tshisekedi claimed Ruto's alignment with Rwanda has obstructed crucial peace initiatives aimed at stabilizing the DRC, particularly in the context of the ongoing conflicts involving armed groups like the M23 rebels. Historically, Kenya has played a significant role in peace-building efforts in DRC, especially since former President Uhuru Kenyatta initiated the disarmament and demobilization programs in 2014. Here is a full report.
Between Kenya and the Democratic Republic of Congo has been a blend of cooperative peace building and emerging tensions. Former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2014 played a pivotal role in initiating disarmament and demobilization efforts in the DRC, aiming to break the cycle of conflicts and violence that has plagued the region.
As the facilitator, together with yourselves, we have convened this Nairobi 3 to achieve the following objectives. To identify firstly the political process and institutional reforms necessary to create an environment conducive for the disarmament of armed groups at regional, national, and provincial level.
The move was part of Kenya's broader strategy to promote peace and stability in the Great Lakes region, reflecting Kenya's commitment to regional security.
As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, I want to urge all participants to this process, including those who are not yet here on the table with us, to give their support to this process that is vital towards the restoration of peace and stability in the Eastern DRC. And I look forward to opportunities that will enable the region to continue working closely to enhance and strengthen the bonds of purposeful friendship and strategic cooperation for the mutual benefit of all the citizens of East Africa.
Kenya's involvement in the DRC goes beyond political diplomacy. Economically, Kenyan businesses have established a significant presence in the DRC, including major players like Equity Bank and Safaricom. However, the relationship has recently faced challenges. Current DRC President Felix Tshisekedi has accused Kenyan President William Ruto of siding with Rwanda, alleging that this stance has stalled the disarmament and demobilization process. Tshisekedi's frustration was evident in his recent statements, where he expressed disappointment over what he perceives as a lack of progress in these critical peace initiatives.
There have been two processes that have been drawn up. The one in the region of East Africa, which was driven by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, which unfortunately was later managed by the new president, William Ruto, and which was very badly managed because today we no longer have this process at all. The facilitator, Uhuru Kenyatta, remained. He kept his power, but the process is almost dead because President Ruto took fact and cause for Rwanda.
In response to the criticism, President Ruto emphasized that the ongoing conflict is not about personal disputes between leaders like Tshisekedi and Kagame, but rather about the well-being of citizens. And
I would go along and say, let us forget about complicating this problem. This is not about Rwanda and DRC. This is not about Kagame and Tshisekedi. This is about citizens and their government. And if we understood it in that context,
licensed liquor distributors in Embu are teaming up with the security agencies to tackle the rampant issue of counterfeit and illicit alcohol. Following a meeting with County Commissioner Jack Obuo, the distributors committed to stringent self-regulation and closer cooperation with authorities to protect consumers and their trade from the devastating effects of fake liquor. Here are the details.
Licensed liquor distributors in Embu County have agreed to partner with security agencies to weed out illicit and counterfeit liquor and manufacturers. The liquor traders say they are fully behind the crackdown on illicit and counterfeit brews in a bid to rid the county of the menace that has left many consumers with lifelong injuries or dead.
Na tunataka kuuza zile pombe zimekubaliwa na serikali, zile kampuni zimepitishwa, zile tunataka kudili na zenyewe, na tumekubaliana na security team. Every manufacturer ataleta distributor wake hapa M County mwenye atasimamia, na sisi tumekubaliana na sisi wale wote tuna supply ya pombe, the wholesalers na retailers, tutakuwa tuna communicate na wao.
On his part, after meeting the traders, the County Commissioner Jack Obuo called on the distributors to form an association that will work closely with the security organs in a bid to remove counterfeit from the market.
Tumekubaliana na hawa distributors wakuwe an organization, wakuwe kama kikundi, organized group ambayo tunaweza fanya kazi na hawa ndio tutoe wale counterfeiters from the market, kwa sababu kuna counterfeiters wengi wana deal na products ya distributors bila hawa kujua.
While challenges remain, the steps taken by Embu traders highlight the power of collective action. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
Mary Kenyanjui, owner of the First Street Corner Cafe on the bustling USIU Road, is proving that ordinary can be extraordinary. This local joint offers an executive buffet set up of a mouth-watering array of homemade Kenyan dishes like mukimo, chapati, beef stew, and French fries. Mary's unwavering commitment to cleanliness and exceptional service sets the First Street Corner apart, ensuring each bite is as delicious as it lasts. Whether you are local or a visitor, this is the perfect spot to satisfy your cravings and discover the extraordinary in the ordinary. Here is more on the same.
Tackled in the USIU Africa Nairobi area, a hidden gem shines brightly, surpassing expectations and elevating the dining experience. Join us in the fast food corner as we explore how Mary has done ordinary in an extraordinary way. Take a look at this.
At the fast street corner, where every dish tells a story, Mary Kenyanjui transforms traditional Kenyan flavors into an extraordinary dining experience. This local cafe is known for its mouth-watering mokimo, perfectly crisp chapati, savory beef stew, and piping hot French fries. Mary's attention to detail is unmatched. She personally oversees the meticulous cleaning process, ensuring every surface is spotless and every dish is prepared with care, right from chopping all the way to serving. Customers rave about the warm, inviting atmosphere and friendly service. Mary's big dream is to be a dynasty in the catering world, and she confirms that the location was not just good, but a perfect choice.
My name is Mary Kenyanjui. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur and a part-time student, by the way. I study Bachelor of Commerce at MKU, evening classes. It's my dream to own like a brand eatery joint whereby I'll have it in different places, preferably places where there's universities. That's like my niche. That's what I'm going for. And hopefully, if everything goes well.
Mother through a traditional apprenticeship, honing the skills over the years.
Well, first of all, I'd say it's my passion for food. My ethnicity is Tanzanian, so we are very familiar with Swahili dishes from my mom's side. So I have a passion for cooking. And I thought this would be the best niche considering it's student oriented. So I said, why not? And I gave it a try and I went for it.
Although not her primary profession, Mary's food joint is a thriving part-time venture that showcases her passion for sharing the flavors of her heritage with the community. Whether you're craving a hearty lunch or a quick bite, the Fast Street Corner has something for everyone. Stop by today and taste the difference that passion and quality make. The Fast Street Corner, where ordinary becomes extraordinary.
Such a lovely taste. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the extraordinary experience of Fast Street Corner. Reporting for GBS TV, my name is Alex Mwange.
To keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. That report brings us to our international news, but first let us take a quick commercial break.
Because those people, let's commend them on their quality. Sana sana their music videos quality na top notch.
Kwa artist atakuwa msanii. Usiingie usiende kwa studio kwanza kurecord ngoma bila kuwa educated about music. Juu sasa utaingia hapo urecord ngoma yako vizuri alafu
hiyo utakuwa umegain kila kitu, but pia label uyachangi hivyo. Yeah, we helped you, so you are supposed to
do something.
Yeah. Kiingia unapangwa contract. Unajua contract inakonga between two parties. Mnaagria under one thing, kila mtu analeta interest zake, then mnaangalia vile mtapata. We have talent in the ghettos, but manze usanii ni ngumu, designer wise endelea. Manze mimi niliona movie ya Kenya na movie ilikuwa ina trend. Walitumia Land Rover hizi za kitambo, hizi chuma,
Yeah. Mtu akisenza audio kitu ni ya uongo.
Umeelewa kabisa. Form 1 kuna msemehando akasema ni artist. Akaambia kuja hapa bro. Unichore pilipili na ukali yake.
Kuna pilipili but sawa, but now how the ukali
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the broadcast, and now to matters international news. Thousands of Nigerians, primarily young people, took to the streets on Thursday to protest against the country's severe cost of living crisis, the worst in a generation. Demonstrations erupted across various cities, including the capital, Abuja, where police deployed tear gas to disperse crowds, defying a court order that restricted protests to a stadium. Protesters carried placards and Nigeria's green and white flag, voicing their demands, which included their reinstatement of gas and electricity subsidies. The removal of these subsidies, part of the President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms, has significantly increased the prices of essential goods, exacerbating the financial strain on the citizens. Here are the details.
Movement! Carrying placards, belts, and Nigeria green and white flag, protesters chanted song as they listed their demands. Including the reinstatement of gas and electricity subsidies, whose removal as part of the government audacious reforms to grow the economy had had a knock-on effect on the price of just about everything else. Roads were blocked in parts of the country by placards carrying protesters and armed security forces who were deployed overnight after a day of mobilization for protesters against the government of Nigerian President Bola Tinubu. The protesters said they are grieved of the country's deadly security crisis in the conflict-battered north, which Tinubu had promised to end when he was campaigning for president.
And we are not going to stop until every Nigerian can live comfortably in Nigeria. We are not going to stop until we in Nigeria, we Nigerians living in Nigeria, enjoy similar life or a better life than even countries across the world who don't have half of the resources that we have.
The End Bad Governance protest is important because, if you look around today, the price of fuel, is triple what it used to be, and automatically people can't afford to do a lot of things. Because of this, businesses are shutting down. A lot of small businesses cannot even pay their staffs again. And if you go on into the markets as well, market women and market people cannot even afford the basic things, and they find it very difficult to even sell their markets because the buyers cannot even afford all of these things.
Many businesses across the country were also shut on Thursday amid fears the protesters could be a replay for the deadly 2020 demonstration against police brutality in the West African nation, or a wave of violence similar to a last month protest in Kenya, where attacks had led to chaos in the capital, Nairobi. Though originally planned for 10 days, Omeyele Sowell, a former presidential aspirant and one of the protesters' organizers, stated they won't back down until their demands are met. Nigeria's public officials, frequently accused of corruption, are among the best paid in Africa, a stark contrast in a country that, despite being one of the continent's top oil producers, also has some of the world's poorest and hungriest people. Peris Kego, GBS News.
MINUSCA has deployed Rwandan peacekeepers and Bangladeshi force to the Babuti sub-prefecture over 1,100 kilometers from Bangui to restore state authority after the 2013 conflicts. Since the arrival, residents displaced by violence are returning home and local activities are gradually resuming through the MINUSCA's secure environment, creating efforts which has enabled the free movement of people and goods as well as access to humanitarian assistance. This transformation has not only restored a sense of security but also revitalized local governance and humanitarian efforts, marking a pivotal moment in the region's recovery. Here is that report.
The conflicts of 2013 in Bambuti, located in the southeast of Central African Republic, severely impacted the region, leading to widespread displacement and a significant lack of state presence. With Bambuti situated over 1,100 kilometers from the capital, Bangui, the area was left largely unattended until the arrival of MINUSCA forces in May 2024. Rwandan peacekeepers and a special Bangladesh contingent have been instrumental in restoring stability and supporting local authorities in their efforts to rebuild the community.
After the arrival of these forces in the town, I have noticed a change. Upon my return to Bambuti, I have observed that many individuals from Bambuti who had sought refuge in South Sudan have also returned. I too have recently returned to Bambuti after fleeing. Thanks to these troops, I have been able to return to Bambuti.
The mission's primary objective is to facilitate the unrestricted movement of individuals and goods while ensuring access to humanitarian assistance. This focus has been crucial in a region where such access was previously compromised by ongoing conflict and instability.
Peace is slowly being restored. We maintain a positive relationship with the Rwandan peacekeepers who pose no threat to us.
In a show of collaborative effort, a joint delegation from MINUSCA, the World Food Programme, United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, the United Nations Population Fund, and Central African authorities visited Bambuti on July 13th. The delegation aimed to assess the progress of peace restoration efforts and to launch new projects designed to support the region's recovery and development. Thomas Musyoki, GBS News.
Vice President Kamala Harris has responded forcefully to former President Donald Trump's recent comments questioning her racial identity. During a speech at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Chicago, Trump made misleading claims suggesting that Harris only recently identified as black, previously underlining under her Indian heritage. Harris, who identifies as both black and Asian, addressed the matter at an event in Houston, criticizing Trump's divisive remarks, emphasizing the need for unity as the elections approached. Here is the full report.
United States Vice President Kamala Harris has responded strongly to former President Donald Trump's recent comments questioning her racial identity. Speaking at the National Association of Black Journalists meeting, Trump falsely claimed that Harris misled voters about her race, suggesting she only recently identified as black.
The American people deserve a leader who tells the truth, a leader who does not respond with hostility and anger when confronted with the facts. We deserve a leader who understands that our differences do not divide us. They are an essential source of our strength.
Harris, who is of Indian and Jamaican descent, has long identified as both black and Asian. In a later address to the Sigma Gamma Rho sorority in Houston, she criticized Trump's remarks as divisive and disrespectful, emphasizing that the American people deserve better leadership that embraces diversity as a source of strength.
The divisiveness and the disrespect. And let me just say, the American people deserve better. The American people deserve better.
Alex Mwangi, GBS News.
Do keep your comments coming in through our SMS line 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. And now for sports lovers, it is time for your most anticipated part of the news, the sports news. Let's get sporty. Team Kenya's hunt for medals on the track begins in earnest this Friday afternoon, as track and field events will finally get underway today at this year's Paris Olympic Games at Stade de France in Paris, after a 3-year wait. As the athletics events commence, Team Kenya's athletes are poised to make their mark and bring glory to the nation. Here are the details.
There will be 48 events consisting of 23 each for men and women, as well as 2 mixed events, the 4x400 meters mixed relay and the 35 kilometers mixed team race walk. 3 venues will be used for the road events: Hotel de Ville and Les Invalides for the start and finish of the marathon races, and Pointe de Lena for the race walks. Kenya, with a contingent of 53 athletes, is competing in 100 meters, 400 meters, 400 meters hurdles men, as well as the 800 meters, 1500 meters, 1500 meters, 3000 meters steeplechase, 5000 meters, 10,000 meters and marathon for both men and women, and in 4x400 mixed relay. Kenya has also 1 javelin athlete, the only field event that the country will be participating in. In today's track action, Kenya will be competing in 1,500 men's heats, 5,000 meters women's heats, 4x400 mixed relay, 800 meters heats women, and the 10,000 men's final. In the last edition in Tokyo 3 years ago, Kenya bagged both marathon gold and 2 gold in track events, 1,500 meters women and 800 meters men. At the Paris Games, gold medal winning athletes in the 48 track and field events will receive $50,000, approximately 6.5 million Kenyan shillings, each from World Athletics for their accomplishments. Relay teams will be awarded $50,000. This will be the first time in history that prize money will be rewarded to gold medalists at the Olympic Games. Reporting for GBS TV, I am John Kinyanjui.
Kenya Rugby Union Board has appointed Thomas Odundo as the Chief Executive Officer effective July 2024. Odundo, who has been serving in an acting capacity, was confirmed this position after decision by the board. Before his appointment, Odundo was the Director of Rugby at KRU for the past 8 years, overseeing operations within the national team's setup as well as local leagues and tournaments. With a deep understanding of the sport, he obtained his Level 1 and 2 coaching certificates in 1998 and 2001 respectively. He coached the Kenya Simbas from June 2004 to June 2006, during which time the team improved its IRB world ranking from 49 to 37 and qualified for the second round of the World Cup qualifiers for the first time. During his tenure as Director of Rugby, Odundo, affectionately known as Tio, oversaw the Kenya Sevens team qualification for the Tokyo and Paris Olympic Games. The primary and junior secondary handball games are major annual events that start at the grassroots level and progress to the national level. These tournaments are designed to give young players a chance to showcase their talents and advance through different stages. Each year, teams compete in a series of matches, beginning locally, moving to regional contests, and finally reaching the national championship. Recently, the Nairobi handball team, Kids Beyond Limits, began their competition journey at the inter-schools level. They faced other school teams and, after performing well, moved on to the cluster level. Their strong performance and teamwork allowed them to advance through this stage successfully.
the founder of Kids Beyond Limit, a registered organization, non-profit, basically meant for training handball and impacting skills on learners within Korokocho and its environs. An organization that started way back in 2008, and it has been running ever since to date. We recruit pupils from schools within Korokocho, train them handball, impact knowledge and skills in them, which can help them get scholarships within the schools within the country. So our main reason of coming up with such an initiative was due to dropout cases we had in our boys and girls within the school, within the area, because their parents could not afford to pay their school fees. So we saw it wise to come up with this initiative through which they could get scholarship. And indeed, we've managed to transform a number of lives, because after they finished their class 8, they joined different secondary schools where they learned for 4 years. After they finished their Form 4, they also transit to colleges and universities.
I'm Sebastian Rieger, I'm from Germany, I'm 20 years old, and I came to this program through an organization called Play Handball. We try to teach kids handball for social and environmental change. So we came here to train with the kids handball to get them scholarships for secondary schools. Right now we have the primary school team for Nairobi, and we will travel to Kakamega tomorrow to hopefully win the nationals. And yes, like we train 6 times a week, and the kids are usually very motivated, and like everything we try to teach them is they take it and try to do their best out of it.
Kwa majina naitwa Michelle Aworo Nyango na niko grade 6 na niko happy kucheza hii handball. Sababu kasi singeenda mbali penye naenda hata sahi. Singekuwa naenda Kakamega, inde imenipeleka huko.
My name is Victor Siero. I'm the programs coordinator Play Handball Kenya. So basically what Play Handball Kenya does is we are using sports as a tool of social change and development. So here we have partnered with Kids Beyond Limit, and we are trying to bring social change and social development through the sport of handball. So basically we are training the kids with the handball skills through which they are able to secure scholarships to secondary schools and maybe university. At the moment we have about 120 kids in this center, and we are looking forward for them to better their life.
This news brings us to the end of our news segment. Tonight here at GBS News at 9, we make your news our business. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Adam Minor. Good night.
Everywhere, GBS.